My name is Silvio, and I really love the Lord.
Hello, and welcome to the Redirect Podcast, where we have spirited conversations and tell stories about finding purpose in retirement. For us, retirement isn't an ending, it's a beginning. Time to redirect your energy, wisdom, and passion toward new horizons. Whether you've recently retired, are planning for that transition, or are years into this journey, this podcast is your companion in navigating this meaningful chapter of life. Curt and Adam,
That's
great
me.
to be sharing mics with you guys again.
We're not sharing mics. We each have our own. We're not that close.
Yeah.
And I'll proceed. And helping to share stories here on the Redirect Podcast, which is why we're here. Today we're going to dive into life's next 30, one of my favorite phrases, and to get some advice from a dear friend with great knowledge of this stage. But before we get started, do you have any concerns about what lies ahead? And if so, what's kind of at the top of that list? Curt?
Our Tuesday night couples group had a gathering, and they gave each of us some coasters, which I think were different with phrases on them. Mm-hmm. And mine is pray on all things and worry about nothing. So to answer your question, I have lots of worries and concerns of what my later years are going to be. And I do at times dive into that thought process, and then I recognize it's not a good thing. Because, yes, you have to be prepared. You have to have an understanding and an awareness of what could be coming your way. But if you dwell on it and focus on it, it's taking you away from today, and it's impacting, I think, for me, my vitality of the day. Of course, the biggest things that I pray for is that, I'm here and doing what I can do to give glory to God and to be in my family and be supportive of my family until the Lord says it's time. As well as that my boys and their wives have wonderful lives. And so that's my take.
Mine would be very similar. I think I have some of the very traditional, like, am I going to have enough money? What's my health situation going to look like? Have I made the right preparations for other things beyond just the money? So all of the basics, which is probably common for most people. Additionally, I think I find myself praying a lot for and thinking a lot about as I move not just into but through retirement. I want my family to be strongly, deeply bonded, not just to the Lord, but to each other. And I really think that if creating some bonds between my children, not just to me, but to each other and their spouses, et cetera, I think is going to be important for them. That's important to me, and it's obviously completely out of my control. There's nothing really I can do about it except, foster opportunities for bonds to happen. So that's something I'm trying to pray over, trust God, let God do my part, but mostly get out of the way.
For me, it's about staying really curious. I mean, my concern is that I maintain desire and put energy around being curious and growing and maintaining disciplines, because I really do want to stay healthy, and that's physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I know that kind of sounds surface, but you can just still get caught up in doing a ton of things, in our redirected state in my next 30 here, but I want to really develop that. My concern is maintaining and having the discipline to do all those things.
I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about with our guest on this. So let's get into our guest today. All of us at this table, Dale, Adam, and myself, have had the pleasure to know Silvio. He's a primary person in our Thursday morning Bible study. He brings a lot of stuff to our conversations. He is a model of ways to be and how to handle situations. And Silvio and I have had a number of one-on-one conversations. And I'm so excited that you're on this show here today so that everybody can have experience of Silvio. because you've done a lot for me, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But before we get started, I think we need to let our listeners know on the first time that we actually met. We were involved with a program down at City Gospel to bring the 5 Marks of a Man Bible study to the people that were living there. There were a group of us, I think about 6 or 8 guys, and we'd go down and we had to share our weekly lesson. So Silvio and I were paired together to give 1 week's conversation. So I said, Silvio, I set up, let's meet at this pizza place and we can get to know one another and sort of talk about the presentation. So imagine we're at a high top table at a pizza place or place our order for food. And then Silvio says,
when I first met you, I didn't like you.
I mean, and so when I look at him, I'm like, well, that's a fine how do you do. So I'm like,
was that your comment to that?
oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, all right, that's a good start.
Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah.
I believe in making first impressions. Yeah. They last the longest.
Here we are.
And obviously, I didn't make a good one on you. So tell us why that statement came out. What led to that? And I just love it. I just thought that was.
Well, since then I've come to love you, and but
it was a journey. Apparently, it took a minute to get there.
You're right. Being in that class on Thursday mornings, you're a newbie, and my impression of you, just my impression, when I saw you, you were like not necessarily a know-it-all, but a know-it-all. It appeared to me that you knew everything, and you knew the Bible, and you knew this. And anyway, you had a lot of experience yourself in life. I guess I was envious that I didn't have all that, and that kind of like, we'll see how this guy works out here and how long he lasts. But through the weeks, I really began to not only like you, but love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Yeah.
I'll keep sending checks.
It helps pay the bills.
Curt, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about our guest today?
Well, but Dale, this is going to be the fun part of it, is that I'm going to have Silvio tell us his backstory.
Awesome.
So, Silvio.
Does he know this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
He knows it now. It's a conversation. So, Silvio, give us a little background of where you grew up, your family, what you did.
Well, first of all, I want to let you know that my parents are Mary and Joseph, and I was their only son.
Oh, boy, you've been around a while.
Inexplicable terms.
But I didn't realize until I was an adult, maybe in my mid-50s, that our family was very poor. I was born in 1940, and that was during the war. At the end of 41, beginning of 42, I don't know exactly when, but my father was drafted, and he was gone for 3 years.
Wow.
Again, I didn't realize until I was an adult that that was a form of abandonment, because when he came back, I'm sure he was a very different man than when he went in. We had no father and son activity whatsoever. He never taught me how to throw a ball. He never got me encouraged to enter any kind of a sports arena. He was just there. He worked hard and provided what we needed. We moved about every 2 years. I was in 8 different schools in 12 years, and never made friends because I'm going to be moving.
You're transient all
Right.
the time. Yeah.
So that's kind of like the background in those years.
Brothers, sisters?
I have an older sister, 2 years, and a younger sister, 9 years younger.
And where were you living at the time, Silvio?
West side of Chicago.
Okay.
There you go. You got a Dale connection. You got a Dale
South side of
connection.
Chicago,
where I was
west
born.
side, as long as we weren't north side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, my gosh,
I always say
we
I'm
got-
from the east side of Chicago, and nobody gets it.
Oh, my
It's the
There
lake.
is an
Yeah,
east.
Aquaman.
No.
There is an East Chicago.
There is an East Chicago. Yeah, and
It's
you
called the shipyards.
probably don't want to be there. Yeah, it's the steel mills.
Right.
All right.
So I was also born in a house, which added to the fact that I didn't know my parents were very poor. So I was pretty much a loner. I was a class clown, and I would make funny jokes and be sarcastic and very critical and all those kinds of things. And I grew up very worthless. Didn't think that I always asked, like, why was I born? You know, what good could come out of me? High school years, typical. I went to one school for 2 years, another school for the last 2 years. And when I got out of school, I went to Rye Technical Institute and learned about electronics. That was one thing that my father didn't encourage. In the 40s, television came out, and I can remember seeing the first black and white with a big magnifying glass in front of it and to make it larger. and then color came about. But so I was talking to my dad about the new industry of electronics, and I thought I'd be a barber like my dad was.
Yeah.
And he pushed me, kind of encouraged me to go to electronics, and I did. So I learned things by the hard way. I learned things. What I know is from the hard knocks of life, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I can remember distinctly, we were testing. They were showing us how to test the high voltage tube there were vacuum tubes in those days. If you can remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And how to test the high voltage tube without a high voltage meter, because they were expensive.
Oh, I know where this is going.
So you take a screwdriver and if you can draw like a 1/4 inch of an arc off of a high voltage tube, you're okay. So I was working on one this time and didn't have a screwdriver, so I thought, I have a pencil here. Well, the lead in the pencil is conductive, right? So I used that to draw an arc, and I got sapped. And I learned the difference between AC and DC.
Yep.
AC is like you vibrate with the AC. The DC is just like one quick shock. What I didn't realize, I was holding the pencil by the metal part of the eraser, which makes it a capacitor with the conductor in the middle. And anyway, long story short, you don't do that again.
Can I tell you my version of that?
Yeah.
I too went to for electronics, Cincinnati State was Cincinnati Technical College at the time, and I had this internship where I was doing high potential testing. We're simulating lightning strikes on power station control boards, and you get this metal rod and this 400 and then 1200 DC volts, and you just ground it on one side, tap the board. If the bell, the wing, the light goes off, it passed. If it doesn't go off, it didn't pass. So I didn't realize that the grounding strip on the one side was still resting against my pinky. And when I hit that thing at 400 volts, it hit me. And I was sitting on a tile floor in a chair with wheels, and the next thing I know, I'm just rolling across the floor.
Wow, that explains a lot of things, Dale, don't you think?
Kidding. Well, when he lost all his hair.
Yeah, Silvio too.
Silvio
doesn't have any hair.
It'll happen to you.
Must be electronics thing.
As you can see, I never got close to electronics.
All right. Don't ask me to screw in a light bulb.
120 volts. It's fine. Let you know you're still alive.
Oh my goodness! So how long were you working in the electronics industry?
When I graduated, I think I was 21 years old, and the draft was still on, and I couldn't find a job, and so I enlisted in the Army. Spent 2 years in the Army, and lo and behold, they sent me to Walter Reed Army Hospital in Washington, D.C., as an electronic technician.
Oh.
I was working in a department of 4 civilians, and I was the only GI. And we repaired the equipment that was measuring we had a 50 kilowatt reactor, and they would radiate different things, and we would measure. My job was to help repair those measuring instruments. So when I got out of there, I got a job at Magnaflux Corporation in Chicago as a electronic technician repairing electronic equipment that they made. After 5 years, because I had my eye on a spot that this one gentleman was working at, and the desk was right next to where I worked, and he was doing a lot of interesting things. And I said to him that if you ever need an assistant, tap on my shoulder. So he finally did that after 5 years that I was working as a test technician, and he was an application engineer. So I became an application engineer for the company. What we did was, you were manufacturing a product, they were breaking, you'd send it to us and see if we could find a way to inspect it before they damaged all of them. The damaged ones went in one basket and the good ones were passed. So we did that for 17 years. And I have no formal college education, but I have an education in manufacturing, how things are made that I couldn't have paid for. From steel to aluminum to plastics to glass, ceramics, whatever. And mostly in the automotive industries. In fact, the first time I can remember, I went into an aluminum factory making raw aluminum. He says, unlike steel, I want you to be aware that it doesn't glow like steel does. So flowing aluminum and solid aluminum is still hot. Don't touch anything.
Even though it doesn't look like it.
Right, exactly. So that was one of my biggest lessons.
Because you touched it, apparently.
No, I didn't.
Okay, thank goodness.
I'm not one of those guys when it says wet paint to test it. I'm tempted, but I don't do it.
I haven't learned that lesson yet.
So I got involved in sales with the same company, and that's what brought me to Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
So I've been in that business like 32 years.
32 years. And how long have you been away from career?
Yeah, I left that career in 89.
1989.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's 30-some years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Almost as long as I've been in it, I'm almost out of it.
That's right. That's right. What are you doing now?
Wherever the Lord leads me, whatever I want to do.
Okay.
How do you know when that's happening?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, I'm not a planner, for number one. I live my day by what's going to happen in that day. Whatever's going to happen, he brings me that day, it's going to happen. I may plan a dinner or luncheon or something like that, but for long-term family plans or my plans, is whatever evolves. So I was raised Catholic. At 16, I left that and was searching. Got married the first time, and our neighbor invited us to they were going to a local Catholic church, and it was quite different. It was a mass in the gymnasium. We sat on bleachers. Two young priests, 28, 29 years old, would run the mass, and it was like it was a Kumbaya mass, guitar mass. And
Hootenanny mass.
Yeah. The one thing that interested me in that was that whenever they say the gospel and the epistle, then they say this was a short message, they would pass the microphone to the audience. And we would ask questions. So all of a sudden the light bulb went in me is that it's a learning time. So after about 5 years of living there, we moved further west and were churchless again. And there was this one couple that I met that was really made an impression upon me. I wanted what they had. And I thought it was their money because they were quite rich. And so we ended up joining their church, Southern Baptist Church up north. Discovered that what they had was Jesus. And I wanted more than that. And that began my process in studying the Bible and wanting to know more.
How old were you then?
So when I was baptized was either 72 or 73.
Okay.
And the reason why I was baptized was because I didn't want to go to hell. I wanted Jesus as my Savior.
Okay.
So I expected big changes. Nothing happened. That was the same old me. And then we moved here, and I had divorced my first wife, and I started dating again, and God was always chasing after me. I felt that he was always wanting more of me, which I couldn't figure out what that was for, but I felt I always had to find the church. So I met my present wife, and we moved to where we now live, 2 miles north of Crossroads, and I'm driving up and down the road, and on the billboard it said, Sex Series. So I said, oh, God knows how to get my attention.
It's a catchy billboard.
So I know what the Catholics said. I know what the Southern Baptists said. I wonder what these guys are saying. basically it was the same message. It's just that it was ready for it at that particular time.
Yeah.
So we've been going there since 2005. In 2010, I was introduced to Story Form Life. That made a big difference in my life. What Story Form Life did for me was gave me the message that I am part of God's story. I am not God's story. I am part of it. And I knew that my disobedience, sin to God, my Heavenly Father, hurt him, because I knew how much my children hurt me when they're disobedient to me. And prior to this time, I always saw God as my father, always there, my earthly father, always there, just there. And then when I needed discipline, they were there to discipline me. After Story from Life, I learned I had a relationship with my Heavenly Father that I didn't have with my earthly father. And then I started to dig into more about his son and what he was all about.
So we asked a little bit ago about, what do you do with your time now? And you said whatever God has for you. So what are some examples of how you spend some days here and there?
One of the things I love to do is mentor younger men, or mentor anybody, mostly younger men. I don't have anybody right now, but I'm looking. One of our passions is real marriage. And we did that in 2005 when we needed it, and we've been a part of it ever since.
Define real marriage for us.
Real marriage is a class that's held at Crossroads twice a year. It's about making marriages richer. People come into the class, some of them are ready to get, the divorce papers are ready to be signed, and it saved their marriage. Some come in that they're fighting all the time, they don't get along, and they expect us to fix it, exactly.
Yep.
And that's one of the things we say the first night. We are not going to fix it. But I guarantee that, money-back guarantee, which is it's free, money-back guarantee that if you follow what's in the book and what we suggest here, your marriage will be better. And some people just come into their marriages going well, but after their class, it goes better.
They want a booster.
Yep.
A booster, Yeah. And we talk about very things. And the one thing that I learned, the main thing that I learned is that what's a covenant? God made a covenant with Abraham and so on. Jesus is the last covenant that God made with us. And well, I never understood the word covenant. That class taught me what that meant. That meant oneness forever. Like bound, when he says the two shall become one, that's covenant.
Yeah, because biblically, marriage is ideally a covenant marriage.
Correct. And both times none of them they were worldly marriages until finally. So that was big for me.
Mm-hmm. Who was a big influence in your life?
My biggest influence is my wife.
How so?
Well, first of all, there's a big story about that. I don't know if I want to go into it or not, but we dated long distance from Chicago to Cincinnati for 2.5 years. And then she broke up with me, and I was not going to have that. So I finally moved back to Cincinnati and worked in a car lot 6 days a week, making no money. She encouraged me to start a handyman business. And I said, do you know how many handyman businesses are? And she said, but what you do is something special. So I started a handyman business. And I did that for 13 years. So I like to fix things. I'm mechanical. I like to always want to know. I want to know how things are made, and I have to work with my hands. So that was the biggest influence, is from her.
What's the best piece of advice you received from somebody?
I guess it was originally my dad going to tech school.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never had a mentor in my life. I had an uncle that I worked with alongside. He was a mechanic. And we worked together a lot to the point where I knew the next tool he needed. So I got a lot of that mechanical from him.
You're like my father-in-law, that, as I call it, you're a self-made man. And that you came from modest beginnings. You always had to be looking out for yourself, didn't have a lot of things available to you. You found a way to make things work. You got yourself involved into a career, and the career ended up providing for you. Your story is so many stories I've heard like that where I did it. How old are you right now? You're what?
85.
85 years old. How can you mentor people like us where we are in our life. I don't have a career. And I have a marriage, and it's going well. What mentoring can you give to people that are older in this time of their life to make the best out of their life and to appreciate their life, which is what I see you?
I don't really give advice. Here's what I know, and here's what I've learned. At this age, I've learned to be kinder to people. I was always critical, judging. When I see something that doesn't go with my rules or whatever that it is.
Your expectations.
Expectations, thank you very much. I would judge that. Now I just see people as not what they do, but as you're all made in the image of God. So I have a different aspect of people today.
Okay.
If you were a mentor to yourself when you were 50, think back of the 50s, Silvio, what advice would you give him? Is it the kindness message, or what other message would you give to Silvio at 50?
Thinking back to that, I would say, more kind, more loving, more accepting. It's amazing that this past holiday season from Thanksgiving, I'm out shopping and you see grumpy faces, no smiles, and I'm smiling at everybody, and sometimes I get a smile back. And it's like, I think it's very sad that we don't smile more. That's the easiest, no-cost, simplest thing to raise up somebody else, is to smile at them. And I think I would have done more of that.
I laugh because you know cycling is important to me, and I cycle, and for some reason, the way I wear my helmet and my glasses, my mouth is like this, and it looks like I'm smiling.
It looks
and
like the Joker.
Everybody coming at me, walkers, bikers, their reaction when they look at me, and Fran's like, "What are you like smiling?" I said, "No, this is kind of my cycling face," but the reaction is always a smile back, or it's it's bizarre, but it's a testament to how powerful smiling can be, and I think that's great wisdom.
What are the biggest challenges that confront you now?
Well, the body's aging. There's parts of me that hurt all the time. You go to the doctor and say, "What's the pain?" 1 to 10. Well, 10 is pregnancy, giving birth, or a kidney stone. Getting your fingers caught in a locked car door is like a 7 or 8. What's stepping on somebody's toe? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
So it's like it's
relative.
A 4
relative.
or 5, ongoing, day after day. Even a 3, like a pain level of 3, day after day, after month.
It's a lot of pain.
That's a lot.
It grows.
Yeah, there's no respite from that.
Well, I have a sciatic pain that's been going since I was 40. It's just there. I know it's there. I feel it now. If I don't think about it, I don't feel it. But it's like the thorn in Paul's side, I figure. I prayed to have it gone, and it's still there. And someday it'll be gone.
Yes.
So true.
So you're asking the daily day, and that's a couple of things. The real marriage, which starts up in a couple of weeks. We'll be back in there. And every time we've done it, it's over 20 times I've been in that class.
Wow.
And I've learned something new every time we do it about myself. And the biggest thing is how much I needed to change myself toward pleasing my Heavenly Father and toward pleasing my wife. You asked earlier about the biggest advice that I've read was Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives like Christ loved his church, and he died for her. I figured I had to die to myself for what my wife needs.
How do you deal with regrets, or do you have regrets? How do you deal with that at 85 when you think back? God, I wish I had done that differently. Or
well, if I had a regret, it would be raising my children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
You wish you wouldn't have done it?
parts of me say yes, knowing what's going on today. And that's another story. But I think I could have done a better job. But I think of the same thing that my father did the best he knew with me, and I did the best that I knew how to raise my children. And they didn't turn out so bad after all,
Yep.
So regrets, Yeah, that'd probably be it if I had one, but I don't feel like everything I've experienced in my life, I feel that was necessary to get me to be who I am today. Mm-hmm. Without any one of those, I would be somebody different. What
are some of the most rewarding things that you experience being older?
Living to be 85 is one of them. It's like, Lord, why am I still here when people much younger are dying around me? In fact, in 2010, Story from Life, when I dedicated my life to my Lord and Savior this time, I asked him, why did you wait all these years, almost 40 years, before you got me? And here's what I heard. Don't worry about it, Silvio. Abraham was 83 when I got him. So I got you early.
Yeah. Time for a quick break. If you're liking what you're hearing, do us a quick favor. Hit that follow button, share it with your friends and family, drop us a quick comment, and then a 5-star review. It really helps us keep going and growing. Then head over to Instagram and follow us there too. Thanks for the help. And now, let's get back to work. You said a minute ago that you've learned to be less judgmental. Do you feel like that's a natural progression for people as time goes on, that they start to look at things that they used to think that it really mattered, and now this isn't as important? Maybe I didn't have it so right. Maybe my opinion was right and I didn't need to share it. Maybe I wasn't right about that. So I think this progression of personality becoming less judgmental is really interesting to me. And do you feel like that's a natural progression of people as they age, or is there something else that shifted that opinion?
Yeah, I don't know if this will answer your question, but since I was feeling alone and worthless most of my life, that I was the one who would love to do the kind of thing we're doing now. Give me a microphone and I'm gone. I did a lot of work with personal growth seminars where I was actually teaching one of the classes. I love that kind of stuff. I love to teach. I taught basic electronic operations to people who would buy our equipment. So I loved teaching. I love being up front. Like our Thursday morning group, when we first started, I'd be one of the talkers. If there was dead time, Silvio was talking, taking advantage of it.
You were one of the original gabbers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lately here, I've been learning to listen more. As we grew to a large group, or larger and large group, I listen more. And everybody has a different opinion. They're all in different places. And sometimes I have to chuckle to myself because I know exactly where they are. But it's all about growth. We're all walking our own path. I have to accept the fact that God's in charge and not Silvio.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible that the world would work on Silvio's principles.
I needed to hear that.
So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but as I got older, the biggest thing I believe, the biggest problem in marriages and in communication with anybody is pride. We all have a little bit of pride and ego.
Yeah.
And I know I had a lot of that back in the day. And I don't care what you say about me. I don't care what you think about me anymore, because I know what my Lord thinks of me.
How would you like to be remembered?
That's another great question because
we're full of them.
Yet I didn't really study all night either.
Well, we didn't give you any notes to study, so you came fully prepared.
And
we were just walking by.
We don't know the right answer.
You can make it up.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I would like to have been known to have made a difference living here on the earth.
Make a difference. Now, which way?
Well, I already know that I've made a difference in several lives.
That's awesome.
I have this one young man who took my advice from the get-go. And we've been together, I don't know, now they're married 10 years. So prior to that, probably 14, 15 years. He did everything that Ann and I suggested to him. He was divorced and had a 5-year-old, and he would be dating. And I told him, I said, whoever you date, I want you to bring them before me. Like,
the Don. Here we go.
Hey, get down here.
I got to give the blessing.
and I would say, no, different women, no.
I love it.
And the one night that he brought this woman to church, and she was about 10 feet, 15 feet behind him, and he approached me, and I saw her, and I walked up to her and gave her the biggest hug, and then walked back to him and said, "Don't this one up."
He bleeped himself.
We've never had a self-bleeper.
And they're like our kids today. We've been invited to every bit of everything that's going on in their life, to their marriage.
Great.
And
That's so cool.
And, so that's the kind of mentoring I like to do, when somebody really listens to not the advice, but here's what I've learned, here's what I know.
The insight.
It's the people you've affected. Those are the people that you'd hear from.
And there are many more.
Yeah.
So I already know that I've made a big difference. And that's why I believe God still has me here, because I have more to do.
Yeah, you're still doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the real marriage thing, it's part of the healing groups inside Crossroads. If you are in the Cincinnati area and are interested in such a thing, crossroads.net/groups. Scroll through there. You can find the healing groups section, in which you'll find real marriage, and you'll get some content on that.
Excellent. Thank you.
As well as many other great groups.
The three of us participate in a couples group that is just kind of a general group, like men's group, couples group, women's group. It doesn't fall under the umbrella of healing, which has a very specific application. So it's really cool that you get to continue to do that and continue to give back and invest in health of others. That's a really wonderful thing.
You keep mentioning mentorship, and there are so many different kinds of mentors and different phases of people's lives. But everything that you've been talking about has been stuff that is so very important. But you talk of relationship. You talk of a recognition of the Lord. You talk about helping people and serving the Lord however you can do. And that's what's important. You, Silvio, are an important person in my life, because you're that guy that I can talk to that grounds me, challenges me, and makes me think of things that are above me, as opposed to all the stuff that's just happening around me. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for the inspiration that you provided to me. And I think we need to do more of that in encouraging people to think of the greater things about who we are and what we're exposed to, as opposed to the stuff that just, all the noise that gets in the way of relationship, community, encouragement, and all those things. I thank you for being a part of my life.
My pleasure.
And for your wisdom, because you have a perspective of changing one life is worth it, being able to change many, but to bring the gifts and the things that you've learned to the forefront for others to be influenced by, be inspired by. The fact that you're looking forward to more mentees. You know, you've got a road ahead of you. You know, and it sounds like God's using you in ways that I think we all hope to be mentors. You know, we all love being in that position, but be open to be menteed, even at our age.
And what's really cool, I mean, there's a scripture verse down here. It's Job 12:12. It says, "Is not wisdom found among the aged? Does not long life bring understanding?" And that passage, you look at it, and like sort of we talked about it, well, Silvio's wise, and Silvio can give us this stuff to sort of help us because he's been here a long time. But in essence, he got his wisdom. His wisdom is from God.
Yeah, there's two kinds of wisdom.
Yeah.
Earthly wisdom and heavenly wisdom. Earthly wisdom comes from experience, like don't touch the hot stove. Don't touch the molten aluminum. Now, you can either learn that just by hearing it, or you can learn it by going and doing it. But regardless of how you acquired earthly wisdom, that's temporal, it's situational, and doesn't necessarily come via miraculous ways.
Right.
Heavenly wisdom can only come from God. It can only come from His work at work in your life, from His word, and from you spending time with Him. You, friend, and thank you for sharing it, have a really quality example of both. The earthly wisdom gained from a long life of trying, doing, failing, trying again, getting it right, sharing it, and then the wisdom that you've gained from God at work in your life, and then being willing to share that is a gift to the rest of us, and thank you.
You're most welcome. One of the biggest things I find out also is the willingness to change and grow. And that's one of the things I do have. And that's one of the things I would pass on to youngsters, just keep growing.
What are you working on right now? What are you trying to grow on right now?
Right now, the wife and I are working in our neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
We're finding couples who go to our church, and they live right next door to us, just around the block or whatever. And hopefully we're going to get this year it'll be a marriage group in a home.
Oh, cool.
So that's one of the things we're working on.
Wow. Well, thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you for what you're doing.
You're most welcome.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you to sort of have more conversation, do you have an email address or something?
They can email me at JESIAN20, the number 20, at spectrum.net.
Fantastic. So if anybody wants to have a gentleman that is a great encourager and has a lot of things in which to pull from to help you through good and bad times, get a hold of Silvio.
And apparently not afraid to tell you plainly.
I would have to admit, at that time, he was quite curt.
Thank you for this honor.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you again for spending the time with us.
And thanks for joining us on the Redirect Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Redirect Podcast. We would like to thank the University of Cincinnati 1819 Innovation Hub for allowing us to record our episodes at the eSports Innovation Lab recording studio. Don't forget to tell your friends about the Redirect Podcast and have them follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Instagram. Want more information? Do you have a question for Curt, Dale, or Adam? Or would you like us to consider a topic that interests you for a future podcast? Send us an email at info@redirect-u.com. Remember, the journey isn't over. It's just redirected. There's purpose in your life. Find it and do something about it. Hey, I've got one more comment. The Redirect Podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We engage in an open, honest conversations about personal growth, life transitions, and the lessons we've learned through our own experiences. While we speak as experts in our own lives, we are not licensed therapists, medical professionals, or certified coaches. The content shared on the Redirect Podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of qualified professionals for any physical, mental, or emotional concerns that you may have. We're grateful to share this space with you and hope that our stories inspire reflection and connection. If you're in need of more support, we encourage you to connect with a trusted professional who can help.